first community conversation, we're joined by Spenser Kennedy, a prevention specialist with Region 10. He's sitting down with Casey.
All right, thank you so much, Steve. Thank you so much for being back with us today.
Thank you, Casey.
Yeah, happy to have you. And we are talking about some of the efforts Region 10 is making to educate people about cannabis. Why would you say this is so important right now?
Yeah, so there's been so many developments with marijuana recently, the laws, the commercial availability of it. But it's not just those that's changed, it's also been the potency, it's also been the form that it comes in. So even people who may safely use recreationally or medicinally, it's important to be aware of some of the present concerns and dangers.
Yeah, always good. What are some of those concerns and dangers that you all have right now?
So your average strain of marijuana right now has a THC, the psychoactive component of it, a content of on average of 12%. And it goes upwards of 20%, when traditionally in the past it's been an average of about 4%.
Oh, wow.
So usually about 3 times higher. You know, imagine if your average beer at a bar or buying it from the store was 3 times more alcohol.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, so you know, people who are trying it for the first time or youth, they're now at an increased risk for an emergency or an overdose.
Yeah, and I think that's something a lot of people don't think about when they think about cannabis. There are alternative cannabis products that are becoming more common too. Tell us a little bit about some of the concerns with those.
Yes, there's a lot that are very chemically similar. You see signs for them all over town. They're very readily available. One of those is called Delta 8. And one of the things that's been driving it is that it comes in an edible form. The Blue Ridge Poison Center in the past year had 112 calls for emergencies related to Delta 8, with 37 of those being for kids.
Wow.
The year before it was just 20 total. So when people aren't knowing if they're taking a food or eating a food that has this substance in it, or maybe having more than they intended, it may cause unwanted consequences or even an overdose emergency.
Yeah, you're right. And so many of them just look like candy now. It's hard to tell the difference sometimes.
Yeah, so it's important, especially if you have kids, if you're using this or have it at your house, to make sure it's in a safe, locked location where they can't access it or find it.
All right, really good advice. What are some signs that someone could be experiencing maybe a marijuana emergency, and what should people do if that happens?
Yeah, if someone's heart is racing, if they're feeling faint, if they're having a significantly altered state of consciousness, if they're unresponsive, and also high levels of agitation. If that's happening or someone you know is having that, it's important to call either 911 or the Blue Ridge Poison Center at 1-800-222-1222. Lots of twos.
Lots of twos.
And more importantly, if there's any suspicion at all that a child has accidentally or intentionally done this, to call one of those resources immediately.
Call right away. All right. Thank you so much for being here as always.
Thank you, Casey.
Yep, we'll have you back soon. And Steve, back to you.